the Driven Women's Guide to Love,
Life and Business, hosted by the boss ladies Alex and Gabby. Combined, their network gathers an array of women from various industries who exemplify strength and tenacity. Their fun and positive approach to life will awaken the boss in you. You're listening to Girls Gone Boss.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Girls Gone Boss. I am Alex, and I am here with my favorite person in the whole world, Gabby. How are you, Gabby?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Girls Gone Boss episode. Hi, Alex. Yes, I'm good. Happy New Year. I don't know if we're going to run this one first or what. Guys, sometimes, we record and it's obviously not live. So welcome to 2022.
Yes.
How's it going so far?
I don't know. It's going good. 2022 has started off really nice. I got to have like a few days off. So it was, I was able to finally recharge because at the end of the year, it became very hectic with work and just everything, the holidays and everything that's going on. But I was able to take a few days off. I ended up canceling Riley's birthday party just out of safety for everybody because it was going to be a lot of people, even though it was outside. But it was nice. We ended up spending it at home, just like with the grandparents and the godparents. And it was a nice little time. And I haven't seen you in forever or talked to you.
I haven't seen you since last year. I know. Well, we talked not too long ago.
But I mean podcast. Like we haven't podcasted in a while. So it's nice to get back to it.
Yes, we're kicking off. It's cold. It's January. It's Miami, and we're about to get 37 degrees. So we're excited to kick off the year with some cool air. I know people in New York and all the listeners that are up north are like, shut up.
I know, right?
Really, come on. But to us, it's really cold.
It's the coldest. So to give context, it's the coldest that it's been in a decade for us. So it's really cold for us.
Yes. And also, I just want to welcome all of our YouTube followers and YouTube watchers. We're finally trying this whole video YouTube thing for today. Well, we're still troubleshooting what is the best format for us to kind of transition into. We understand audio is where podcasts kind of originated, but we know how important video and the visuals are. So we have heard you guys. I know you guys want more of us to see us. So that's what we're doing now. We're trying out. We might troubleshoot it again and see where we can perfect it. But welcome, YouTubers. We see you. We want to be like you.
Yeah, we do.
Well, let's get started.
Yes, we have such an amazing guest today. It's somebody that I met over the holiday break. I got the pleasure of doing a vision board with her for work, and it was such a nice time. I learned a lot about myself. She kind of, I don't think she knows this because there was a lot of people there. So she didn't really get too much one-on-one time with each person, but she made me think of certain things, especially like my inner self.
Your inner self.
Yes, my inner self.
You're not so introspective. I love when people make you think.
I'm not. So she made me feel a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it got me thinking. So I am so happy to welcome Illiett into the podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
When I left that day, I looked at her and I said, I know you don't know me. I know that you don't know what I do, but I'm going to be calling you because I want to do something with you. And she's like, okay.
That was awesome. And you know what? It's interesting that you left with that impact because when I went in, especially the setting, I usually have like, it's closed doors, it's a little bit more intimate, and I am able to have like kind of like that one-on-one with my people. And it was a little bit different. So I had to adapt very quickly. But I'm glad that you still got some motivation out of it because that was exciting. I appreciate you telling me that.
I did. Me and my friend Joanna were like, wow. And I was like, I'm going to have her on the podcast. She's like, oh my God, I can't wait to hear what she has to say because we wanted more. And I had to leave a little bit early because Riley was sick. So I didn't get to finish. But I was like, wow, this, like your presence, your attitude, it's fantastic. So I'm so happy to have you here. But I'd like for you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how Chasinbalance came to be.
Beautiful. So my name is Illiett Ojeda. And basically a little bit about myself. I always like to start from the inside out because, the resume stuff is all cool and everything, but I'm an extremely passionate and ambitious soul. My personality is, very energetic. I I'm extremely driven. I don't like to get no as an answer. So I guess I'd be stubborn. But again, I'm very passionate. I'm driven by passion. I'm driven by positivity, and I put my heart and soul into the things I do and say, and anybody that I encounter. So that's a little bit about my insides. As far as like the regular stuff, I'm a graduate from my master's program was FIU for communications, global communications, and I did a dual enrollment in Miami Ed School. So that's my advertising and art direction side and creative part. And aside from that, I was a teacher for 10 years. So I was a teacher for students with disabilities at a high school level. So that was from the teaching aspect of mine. I'm a mom of 2 kids aged 13 and 10, Cash and Maui. So I'm super, super in love with my children. And I'm also a wife to my husband, which we just turned 15 years. So
Wow.
That's a little bit about me.
I love the names, by the way, Cash.
Yeah, really, I love them.
Thank you. Thank you. They're my cash and my island.
I love it. And I peeped your Instagram. She is such a fashion family. Like, I love you guys have so much swag. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We love clothes. And I love fashion in general. That's fun. And so
jump into it and tell us a little bit about how Chasing Balance came about and what made you, just start that.
Sure. So Chasing Balance was a term. I'm one of those people that walks around with their journal and like a notepad, and I have like receipts with notes, and I've been that person my entire life. And my husband's like, what is this? I'm like, it's my thoughts. It's my thoughts, it's all day long thoughts. So for a long time, I guess from a very personal space in my ongoing journey, I struggled to be like this successful corporate America girl and mom and like decent wife and like show up for myself and try to have like, a workout here and there and follow my dreams and follow my goals. And I felt like it was like this tug of war inside of me of like, I want to do all these things and I seem to either like fail or it's just a constant struggle. It was like painful. I'm like, I'm being tugged. I want to be like the successful like woman, in corporate America, but I want to like show up for my kids. I want to be like, again, the amazing wife. I want to work out, and have like my own identity. And it was just a constant struggle. And I debated with myself so much, and it took like a toll on me. And again, I don't give up on my personal dreams either. So it was like always part of my task list, but it was just more stressful. It wasn't fun. It was very, very stressful. And in that, I was playing around with words. And of course, Chasing Balance came about me. Balance has always been something, it's been my word of the year for a long time. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like everybody that I talk to, especially like women and things like that, they're constantly battling for balance. Everyone you talk to somebody, you're like, oh, I want to achieve balance. And you hear at work, like work-life balance. And you're like, what does that even mean? Like corporate throws it around and you're like, yeah, we offer a gym, but nobody goes to it because you got to be in your desk. And, so I'm like, what is that? What does that mean? What does that mean for my personal life? And I was like, you know what? I got to do something about this. And the more I studied and the more I got into the whole concept of balance and things like that, I was like, you know what? The mistake is everyone is looking for a destination. Everyone is like, I can't wait to achieve balance. And I'm like, it's all wrong. And I have like an innate passion for process, like even like in brainstorming and advertising and in school and creating things, the process always like fascinates me because like how ideas come about, like how did people like get to that dream? Like, I love that. And I'm like, you know what? We're missing the bigger picture. People are trying to reach for something and totally missing the day-to-day, like the journey, like the right now. And the more, again, I put studying into it and listening to things and applying it to my life, I'm like, you know what? Balance looks different every single day. It looks different every single day. Like we're badass mom this week. Next week, we're not motivated to be badass mom. We're badass wives or badass corporate America. And that's where the idea of Chasing Balance, I was like, this term is so strong. Like I got to get it out there. And I got to get it to as many people as possible in terms of like wellness. And that's like a different subject with like mental health and physical fitness and things like that, which have always been my go-to, in essence of how to like, therapy or whatever. It's like, that's my therapy, the mental health part and the physical fitness aspect. But Chasinbalance derived from there, and it was slowly started building itself, I'm going to say, on the aspect of wellness as a whole. So that's kind of like the little umbrella part.
And how are you finding that you're empowering women to move forward with their goals and with purpose?
Sure. So when pandemic hit, or I was still in corporate America and all of that, and I initially, during a rough time, I started I sat one day and I'm like, you know what I need to do, beginning of the year, super cliche, but I sat there, I'm like, I'm going to do a vision board. Oprah does it and she's inspiring and she looks like she's got it all together. I'm going to do a vision board. And I'm sitting there and I'm in full tears building this vision board because it was a tough time for me. And, my word balance was in the center and all of that. And I'm building it out. I'm crying because, like ugly cry, like mocos, like the works, like everything's, there. And I'm building this out and I was like, man, more women, but more people in general need to do this. Like other people have to feel the same way I do. People need clarity, purpose, like what is going on here. So I jumped back and forth. Oh, sorry. I'm building out this vision board and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I need to get this to more people. Right. And I'm about motivation, positivity, digging yourself out of holes. Like we can't sit and dwell on bad things like that. That's my, no, we can't do that. We can't.
We gotta move forward.
There are methods to survive. Yeah, we gotta move forward. There are methods to survive. Like we're strong. We're put on this earth for purpose and like to live. Like we cannot like just let things go past us. So long story short, I was like, you know what? I need to do a vision board workshop. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm a teacher. I know what I'm doing. I'm motivated. Like I'm gonna explain this and we're gonna get it out there. And I threw it out there, of course, social media gives you this opportunity to do things like that. And like, it happened. And like, my mom showed up and like my sister and like my friends. I'm like, this was awesome, but I need strangers to come now, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got such great feedback from like my own sisters and things like that. And of course there are critics. They're like, no, Illy, that was great. That like, this was good. This was good. So I threw it out there again, and I got people that I didn't know. And I poured my heart into like, you're going to make this incredible vision board for yourself. And people cried. Like, I was like, people are crying. Like people are crying.
Because you get deep, you ask those questions that like, we don't really know how to dig deep enough without somebody guiding us. And that's what you do.
So what are those questions? I'm intrigued.
There was a particular question towards the end that I did it wrong. She like, what was that? I forgot the question. What's the last question on the box that you have? What's going to be your word, right? Your word for 2022. Yeah. And I put a word and she's like, no, that doesn't work. I think I put family. And you're like, that's not a goal to achieve or something like that. And I was like, oh no, I'm doing all this wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you probably mean. It's probably not going to inspire so much because it's not so specific. You need to be more specific, right? Like
exactly.
Right. Well, that's the, I'm going to jump forward, but that's the kind of like the, when people build vision boards, they're like, oh yeah, I can do this at home, and they're like, oh, what's different about like this course? I'm like, well, number one, there's the motivational speaking part, which I don't even call it that. It's more of like a challenge session, where, it's dedicated time to work on you. Like you can have a journal and you write stuff down and things like that, but there's nothing like challenging your personal life. Like we don't do that. We don't do that unless you're sitting and you're getting like a live coaching session, but to sit down and create something that you're like, I'm in this place now, but I would like to be in this place. And how am I going to get there? You kind of ask questions and challenge. So I'm glad you remember that. That makes me feel, that's good feedback. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even do a vision board this year. I kind of gave
girls, that's okay.
But it's never too late. It's never too late. It doesn't have to be at the end of the year, new year. It can be anytime, right?
Anytime.
I was like, Because before I would make them religiously, I would put them up on my wall. And then this year I was like, you know what? I don't know. I maybe was down on it a little bit. And I was like, does this really work?
But Gabby, question, whenever you've done them in the past, because you say you've done them, in the previous years, do you notice that the things that you put on your vision board are actually being manifested? Or do you feel like maybe some of the things, but not all of the things, or maybe nothing?
For sure. Some of them happen. Yes. And I heard that, I don't know what's the right direction in that, but maybe you can kind of clarify it. Are you supposed to put it up somewhere and look at it all the time so that you don't forget and you keep manifesting? Or do you do it, put it away, and not worry about it?
There's, like every topic and conversation, there's different methods to things. Me in particular, because of the visualization aspect of vision boarding, which, it's like, the neuroscience is behind it, and I won't get into that because it's boring, but the psychological part is it's a visual tool is what it is. So if you put it away and, the putting away, it's interesting you said that. The putting away goes to me, and my ideology of this is you're supposed to put dreams and aspirations and things like that, mindsets and stuff, and put them on there. And it says to let it go, I think it's not the literal, like put your vision board away. It's more of like, let the universe or your faith or whatever it is that you believe in, like take its course, but the work aspect has to happen, and that's on you. However it's going to come about, that's the letting go part. And that goes back to like a question of like, what is faith? Again, in science and in God and whatever, what is faith? You believe in something super strong and you let it go and let it take its course. Same concept with vision boarding. So I'm about put it up, look at it, work from it every single day. Like every single day you work from it. Like even on your, I hate to be gross, like period days, you bring that thing out and you like let it do its thing.
You mentioned, honey, because that day is today. Okay.
Well, we need that. This just shows me that we need a particular episode just on manifesting or vision boarding, because you have to understand the intentions behind what you're trying to manifest, right? Otherwise, you're doing it and nothing's really happening, and people get frustrated, and then they fall off of it and they don't believe in it. But we'll do a whole other episode on that for sure, because we're super interested.
Let's do it. And Gabby, virtual is like a thing now. So vision boarding virtually, I get criers too. So let's do it.
So it could just be like a one-on-one thing. It doesn't have to be, I have to set up a whole group for you. Like I could do a vision board, just me and you. I could set up a session.
Usually it's groups. Yeah, I usually work with groups, but you're special at this point. So, I mean, if you want to just hang out with me for a couple hours, we'll
changing up her business and stuff. No. We'll get you a group. Trust me, I know so many girls that would love to do this. Maybe also like bringing in just listeners, like everyone listening, maybe you have like entrepreneur friends that you want to kind of do this on a Zoom. That would be really cool. Like if you want to like manifest, specific towards your business, or maybe specific, now that Valentine's is coming up, specific to love. I love that shit, Alex.
I know. That's why we're talking about self-love today.
I have a date night. I have date night coming up February 11th. It's in real, like, we're gathering together, but I open it up to couples, and we do, it's like, this is kind of like a little bit of, cheesy, but whatever, it works. It's called Two Hearts, One Board.
That's cute. I like it.
That's cute.
I like cheese.
Yeah. I did it last year and it worked beautifully. It was super romantic. Nobody got into a fight. So I'm like, we're doing it again.
That's good. Well, let's talk about self-love, right? We have relationship love. We have self-love. For the past couple of years, we've been hearing more and more about self-love, and especially within that social media world, Instagram hashtags, particularly powered by hashtags. What does self-love truly mean? And first I want to clear up, what is the difference between self-love and self-care? Because I'm assuming it's not the same.
Okay. So I love, social media. Everybody has like a different opinion on social media. I think, in my life personally, it's worked well. I think it's a beautiful resource. And it has brought, and the reason I say that is because of the term of mental health. Mental health through time has taken wing of like real, like real subjects, like real life, that people before didn't speak about, and mental health, like in a workplace, mental health, personal mental health, depression, etc. Like people are talking about these things, which I think is incredibly important. I've taken extreme heart to mental health, mental fitness, and all of that, because it is like, we know this is real, it is a real topic. And the fact that mental health is spoken about so much comes the avenue of self-care and self-love, right? So with self-care, and again, this is subjective, like everything, everyone has an opinion on self-care and self-love. I feel like they work hand in hand together. But if I had to identify what the difference was, self-care is more to me of a practice, like something tangible that you're going to go do. Going to the gym is self-care, I don't know, going to get a massage, a journaling, so it's more tangible and something that you actually do. With self-love, and I take such huge pride in this, and I'm so passionate about it. Self-love is like self-dialogue, like how we speak to ourselves, the stuff that's working inside, in our heart, our soul, like our mind, like what's going on in there, and how can we boost it? How can we build it to love ourselves? And I don't know about you guys, but social media destroys like what things should look like, and how we should feel, and how we should think. And and it's a scary place, it's a scary place. And you get in as a woman, I'm confident in everything, but it's scary, it's tough, like self-love is like challenged every day. So that's kind of like the difference of the two. Does that help? Like, does that explain a little bit?
I see it as like self-love is the umbrella of it, and then like everything below it, it would be self-care, balance, finding ways to kind of nurture and feed your soul, whether you need to take a trip away or
Right.
so self-love is like, if we could see it as the umbrella, and everything would fall below it. And self-care is huge, because I tend to, that's the way that I show myself love. Okay, what do I want to do? I don't mind doing things by myself. I think it's beautiful. And if I want to go get a facial, or, sometimes I just need to put my phone away, go to the beach by myself. Just things that are going to feed my spirit and kind of make me disconnect. Even like meditation to me is self-care.
Yeah.
The one thing that you do mention in social media, that has been such a, like, it's a turmoil for us women, because we tend to compare ourselves, right? There's also the fear of missing out, of like, oh my God, look at them doing this. But we always have to remember that social media is the highlights, like the highlight reel of people, right? Like nobody, I mean, some people share things that are tragic, but nobody's going to put like, oh my God, I'm having so much self-doubt today. I don't think I'm having imposter syndrome. I don't think I can do this. Like everyone's going to put like, oh my God, I'm at the beach, beautiful, filtered picture. When in reality, we all are going through something, right? And I think part of like chasing balance, like is what you are, your company is, the root of it is self-love. That's how you find balance, right?
Correct. And you know what, Gabby, to talk, piggyback on what you're saying, the part of validation, that's another thing that compromises self-love. I speak about that a lot. You're like trying to love on yourself, but you're relying on other people to do it for you. So there's a big kind of like, you're walking on the edge of, oh yeah, she told me I look beautiful on my post. And you're like, yeah, now I feel beautiful. And honestly, it's a big maturity level to not have to, like, it's beautiful to get likes and people are telling you, oh, you look beautiful, or you look great. It's great. But do you feel that at the end of it all? Like if that didn't exist, do you feel that? So that's something that I preach. And oh my God, I try to convince and instill on, find something that makes you happy. That mirror, you need to convince that mirror that you are like the hottest and baddest.
But how do you switch to that when you're bombarded by all these messages of like, you're not enough, right? How do we switch it and look at ourselves and not compare ourselves with the woman or the Kim Kardashians or the, or anything out there that is telling us you don't even come up to par to this? Because
Yeah, you don't
literally we all do not, if we really think about it. But we really do though, because they're photoshopping and they're doing all this shit so that they look like they have these extraordinary life.
But listen, even if without the Photoshop, I talk to my sister all the time about this and we laugh because I'm like, we look at these women, I'm like, how is my husband not supposed to look at this bombshell in real life when she's got everything? And you're like, how in the world? And then of course you circle back and say, no, but I don't have that, but I have this and this and this. Like how, like that's the part that you have to revert and be like, my competition is not that. My competition is me. Am I being my best self? Things like that. So
even in love, I think we tend, like back to validation, we tend to, I've been a sucker for that too. We tend to be like, oh my God, he didn't text me, or he doesn't like me, oh my God, he ghosted me. But then like, do you really come back to you, like come back to self and be like, did you even like him? Do you like him? Like, do you like his person? Or are you just looking for him to like you for the validation?
100%. You know what, that with that statement, with vision boarding, I always ask that. And I have, I'm going to jump ahead because whatever, it feels comfortable.
No, go ahead.
The Chasinbalance umbrella is 3 different aspects. It's creative development, because I'm a creative and, people need to make, and there's mindset and there's wellness. So my wellness umbrella during the pandemic, when we got sent home and everyone's just home and things like that, it opened up an opportunity for me, which I had a door on my vision board and I didn't know what that opportunity was, but I'm like, I'm ready to receive. And I got a phone call from one of my baseball mom friends and she's like, hey, are you going to be working out at home? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, can I join you? I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm gonna, like, might as well. I don't want to be by myself. So long and fast forward, she invited Juanita that lost her job, and the other one lost her husband, and the other one was going through turmoil at work. This one got laid off. And before you know it, we're like, I don't know, 15 women that I don't know, all logging on to do exercise, right? I'm leading this class, I'm certified in exercise stuff. And, it's therapy, baby. Like, bring it on. Psychiatry, bring it on. And fast forward, we have this group of women that now I am not only doing physical fitness with, but full on mindset work, because like it's mental fitness 100%. And that's what I'm about. So I'm offering these, mindset stuff, reevaluating your life and your purpose and things like that, and asking questions, which goes to our conversation before, asking questions on like, why do you do things? And like, why do you, like, let's look at routine habits. And it goes back to vision boarding. Like, why are we asking for things? Like, yes, you want money. Great. Like, we all want it, but why? People, they're like, oh, I ask questions like this, that you're like, what's happiness? But don't tell me that your family makes you happy. Don't tell me your children. Like, that's great and all. What makes you happy?
See,
and
but that is what you do. You get deep in there, and I like that, because that's my answer. Family makes me happy, but it's deeper than that.
But
it's way deeper than that.
What makes like the woman happy and not like others that she makes happy is like more inner. It's like more about the person rather than what you can do for others, right? What makes you
because right.
Like you, but you.
Right. But that's a loaded question, right? Because you have to really dig deep. It's not something that I can blur out in 2 seconds. I feel like I have to do a lot of searching to really figure that out, because I've been a mom, a worker, a wife for so long that you start losing yourself. And then you don't really know what ends up making you happy, and if that's truly is your happiness or not. And that is what's like, it's a loaded question.
But that goes back to, and our topic is really self-love, self-care, things like that. And how can you love yourself when you have no idea what you're doing? Like, your day to day, the process, and I tell you, it fascinates me, because we wake up in the morning and we're in this hamster wheel and everybody's complaining about how miserable their life is, but we're writing it. We're writing it. We're writing this wheel, and we do it gracefully. We dress up for it. We we shade in our eyebrows. We put perfume on. We're like, we cater to it, but we don't stop. And I go back to like when I work with corporations, I'm like, I ask yourself, people are like, oh no, vision boarding. They're a little bit enclosed about it because they think it's a little bit like science and like, oh, does it work? Is it magic? And I'm like, have you done a presentation before? Does your presentation ever start with an objective? Like, why are you doing this? I'm like, turn it back to your life. Why are you doing this? Why at 2:00 are you automatically saying that you're tired and have a giant cup of coffee? Because you've programmed yourself to do that and you've convinced yourself that you need this. But if you step back and ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I do this? Like, let's go back and find out why we're doing this. It kind of just changes the game on happiness, purpose, and your routine and your habits, which derive of your balance, your daily balance.
I have to share it. Like, I started therapy this year again. And my therapist, her homework was, why do I do the things that I do? Like, to kind of like, really go deep into like my decision making in different areas in my life. But like, why? What is the driving factor of that?
Yeah.
Wait, you said that was her homework or the homework she gave you?
She gave me homework.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I misunderstood that. I was like,
yeah,
wait.
I'm not giving her homework.
I was like, wait, she had homework?
So it's kind of, it's so cool that like, it came back to that. So
yeah.
Are we saying, just because I want the listeners to like always take something out of the conversation. So in order to find more self-love, you kind of have to figure out why you do the things that you do so that you can reprogram yourself, or why?
I mean, that's a big, it's a big practice. Like, that doesn't happen overnight, honestly. But I think that if the question is how to regain your balance, is that what we're asking? Like,
or how can self-love really kind of like help you find balance?
I would say, if anybody could take anything away today, right now, from this, from listening to this, and to keep it simple, because sometimes we overextend ourselves and we're like, oh, I'm going to go buy gym clothes and Tupperware and I'm going to start a diet. And they're like, I failed day 3, and I think that's people's problems. I would say, with such a huge challenge of like, how do I change my life, and try to achieve this balance? I would sit, and journaling is intimidating for some, but it's, if you don't put too much pressure on it because you're the only one reading it, I would sit and just journal and ask yourself, I do this journaling thing that it's just a circle. It's kind of like a little pie chart. And I separate your day into like, adulting, paying bills, going to work, things like that, maybe work even being a sector, being a mom. And then in there include self-love and see if it exists. Most of the time it doesn't even exist. And again, at some point, because I think it's simpler to identify, what self-love is. Oh, I took a shower by myself. Some people get to that. Like, it's as simple as that. Oh, I put on my makeup without anybody bothering me, or I took a warm shower. So it doesn't have to be anything grand. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I went on, I don't know, to have coffee with a friend. Like, that's overextending yourself. But I would start off with just examining on an average, what your day looks like. And if it includes any self-love, self-care, self-love, whatever you're identifying with, and really seeing how big of a portion in that pie it takes of your day. And if it doesn't, if there's no working out, and working out makes you feel good, if it's not like preparing a good meal or a good shake or something like that, I would adjust and see where you can cut, where maybe you're on your phone, let's say 5 hours of the day, cut maybe it to 4, and that alleviate that hour to plug in maybe reading a book, or journaling, or going to, I don't know, following a video, a 30-minute video, a meditation that could be maybe 2 minutes. But that's how I would slowly plug in, being realistic about your day, what it really, really honestly looks like, and then plugging things in. That's how I would start.
I like that you said that, and I hadn't thought of it that way, the pie chart idea, because I'm a visual person, and I'm not so millennial, so I still write things down on a notebook. And if it's on that notebook, I have to check it off. if it's on the notebook, I have to check it off. So that's going to keep me like accountable for making sure that I take time for self-love for myself. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
What-
And it works.
Yeah.
It works. And seeing, you know, I have a client now that in person, we do this chart because her balance right now is being a mom. Like she has accepted, she wants to do that, and she wants to do it like I'm going to say her right. She wants to do it her way. And she's passionate about that. And I'm no one to argue, because you want to be mom, like do it. You know, but when we did this pie chart together, she was like, you know, mom was, I don't even know, 95% of everything. But she had this interest in health. She's like, I need to get better. I don't have any energy to follow him around. I'm like, well, we got to incorporate some wellness in there, whatever that looks like. And we broke off, we, you know, examined her day, and we broke off, you know, an hour of working out, which she comes to work out with me once a week. So it's not an everyday thing, once a week, which is realistic for her, and it's beautiful. And she has a 15-minute window to journal, and it's kind of a brain dump before therapy. So it's so interesting. So I'm like, before you walk into therapy, journal and set your expectations on how you want to feel during therapy. And it works, you know, so it's small little tidbits.
That's great. That's a great idea. Now, what are some other exercises or affirmations that we can do to promote more self-love within?
Oh, I love affirmations. Affirmations can go either way. You know, some people say like, oh, if you're depressed, say I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, and it'll go away. And it's way deeper than that. With affirmations, I always try to say to people, whatever you feel like your weaknesses are for the day, like if you're struggling with something, like really, let's say I'm a procrastinator. I feel like we can all agree that we procrastinate at some point in our life, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you're a procrastinator and you're like, you know what, it's just killing me. Like, it doesn't make me feel good that I'm procrastinating. So I would create a very, very specific affirmation to help support how you're not going to be a procrastinator. And again, if you dissect, if you're organized, if you're confident about what you're doing, why do we procrastinate? Typically, I hate what I'm doing, or I don't feel confident on what I'm about to do. So you're like, oh my God, I have to do research on how to do it. I don't even know how to get started. So you procrastinate. So I would say, like, examine why you're procrastinating, and then create an affirmation of like, I am confident, you know, I am organized, I am prepared to do this, you know. And a simple affirmation like that on a cute little Post-it note somewhere around your computer or your workspace or your safe space or whatever you call it.
I have one.
Go girl, go Gabby.
Right.
Can I read mine?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Share with the class.
As I know I can be what I want to be. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I want to be. It's part of a song.
I love that. I was listening. That's
Of course. Of course, it's part of a song.
I know I can be what I want to be if I work hard at it. But I literally loved it.
I love it. And just so your listeners can have a beautiful takeaway with affirmations. If you wake up with an alarm, if you wake up with an alarm, you can set your alarm, you can give it a title. And so, for example, if you wake up at 6 and you're like, you have a hard time waking up and you snooze like 45 times, you know, what I love to tell people is create your alarm and give it a name. But instead of giving it a name, give it an affirmation. So like mine says, I'm ready to shake the earth. So when I see that, I'm like guns blazing. I'm like, let's do this, you know, because I know what my day is gonna look like. If you don't wake up with an alarm, and let's say you know that like at 1ish, 2 o'clock, you're feeling like lethargic. Also set an alarm, you know, drink water, you know, because we all need water in our life. Drink water and set your affirmation like, second wind is coming. I've got this. I will not let negativity come in my life. I own my space, whatever it is, super specific, but set that alarm. It interrupts your day and you're like, let's do this. You know, so that helps a lot with affirmations.
Wow. Do you really wake up like that quickly after your alarm goes off?
Hell no.
I do. Alarm up.
I'm like snooze queen. Okay.
I don't think I've ever snoozed in my life, guys.
What?
Oh my God.
No.
You're such a Virgo.
No.
Bye. Bye, bitch. Bye.
I sneeze like 5 or 6 times. No lie.
No way. So Alex, you wake up as soon as it goes off?
So I used to, and now I have like an inner alarm clock, and automatically, no matter what, 6:15, I am up. I cannot. I think it's a mom thing. I don't know. Like now, like, you know, like getting used to like a feeding or whatever. It's just got to be accustomed to it. And I wake up and I have to get out of bed. I used to not be like that though.
I'm like snooze. I'm like another 15, and then it goes into like 30 an hour.
That's me. I struggle.
Let's go to the fun part. Wait, we go to the next question, Alex? But I want to get to the fun part to like.
No, go ahead and get to the fun part.
I think I know what Illiett is. What her sign is.
Get to the fun part. Go ahead.
Tell me.
I think you're a Taurus.
Sagittarius.
No. Oh, shit. Okay.
No one gave me. I was gonna say Sagittarius for the record. No, I was.
Oh, you weren't. Okay. Oh, because I don't know. You said procrastination, then you said I like to sleep in. I'm like, that sounds like a Taurus, because that's what. Okay, wrong. Usually we are so on point, but Sagittarius, it makes so much sense for you. Yes. Creative, have your own thing going. You want to chase balance. I should have said, I could have thought about Libra too, but no, I said.
You know, I that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say Libra.
No, but okay, so let's figure out anybody that's interested, like doing something with you, getting your services, doing a cool vision board party with her girls. Do you do little get-togethers with a bunch of girls?
Yeah, I actually just something I launched last year because of like opportunity of like the whole virtual world. I launched a vision board. I call it a life kit, but it's a vision board kit. And actually recently for Christmas, this woman, she purchased a bunch for Christmas gifts. Her girls are in Colombia. She shipped them out. And as a matter of fact, 2 days ago, I did their whole virtual vision board online. They connected. We did this whole life planning. They opened up their vision board kits. It had a candle inside, the worksheets. I led them through everything. And it was magical. They were like, Illiett, we stayed up till like midnight creating this. So I do that all the time. I do it in the corporate setting for team building. I do it, where it's a little bit more branded, a little bit has more corporate language in it, things like that. It supports like team building and professional development, personal development, etc. But of course, on a personal level, I do network marketing teams. I do, random people that come by themselves, mom groups. I mean, my mission, guys, is to get this out. Every person needs to have a freaking vision board up in their house and needs to go chase their dreams like right now. Like there's no time right now. So that's my mission. So yes, let's get this out.
And let's give everybody listening that are local the opportunity to go to your Two Hearts One Board. Is that what it's called, your event? That's
the Valentine's Day one. It's February 11th. They can find me on Instagram and DM me if they're interested in coming. But it's February 11th in Miami, and it'll be in the evening, super romantic. And there's no fighting. I actually it's a beautiful session, super romantic. I challenge ideas, I challenge thoughts. It's beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful evening. But yeah, that's the first opportunity as far as couples are concerned. And then I'll be opening up more to the public where anyone can come. And then of course, private events, they can write to me whenever, and we can schedule something. Yeah, that's the vision board part. And where can everyone find you? So you can find me either on chasinbalance.com, and chasing does not have a G because it's never finished business. So that's where that idea came from. So it's chasinbalance.com. And then my Instagram is my first name @Illiett, because again, I am the product of Chasing Balance. So there's no front, like this is the real deal. So @Illiett is my Instagram, Facebook, of course, for my other demographic. Can you spell it out for our listeners? Yeah, sure. So it's ILLIETT, like in Thomas, Illiett. Perfect. And again, on the website, you can find the creative development aspect of things. If you want to work with me in DIY projects, that's kind of like the outlet. If you've pinned anything on Pinterest, I've never done it. I basically support that area also as, for team building or activities. And then you have the mindset part, which are all my leadership workshops and mindset stuff. And then the wellness, if you want to work with me in the virtual space with the physical fitness. We meet 3 times a week, 6:15 p.m. And I get your fit on. I challenge you. You're going to do things you don't like, but it is the greatest thing ever. We are 30 women so far from New York, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, all over. Beautiful space, super, super safe space, but we get fit. We get fit. We do our thing.
So, they said that it's impossible for women to do it all, but it seems like you're doing it and it's so flawless. And what is balance looking like for you right now? Like, how is your circle? Is it, you feel like balanced?
So before that, Gabby, I'm going to tell you that the idea of doing it all, I say this a lot. You can do it all. You just can't do it at the same time. That's the key, but you can do it all. And it just looks different. And again, it goes back to what balance reshifts every day. I am feeling extremely balanced. I am feeling extremely balanced. Of course, do I feel sometimes as a mom? Absolutely. It hurts me. I sit and reflect on like, how can I do better? Because, I can fix it at any time. And that's the key. If there's any message I want to leave today is reinvention. People are so scared of reinventing themselves because of what other people are going to think. Reinvent yourself. Be the better mom, be the better spouse, be the better friend, be the better entrepreneur, be better. Like, who cares? Like, reinvent yourself right this second. And that's the opportunity people skip out on a lot. So if you've learned anything today, reinvent yourself any time of the day.
And also,
yes.
I feel like a lot of women that become moms or are moms feel like, no, I have to like just do this with my family. I probably don't have time to dream big or do what really I'm passionate about, because we're selfless. We're taught as women, and when we become moms, like there's this selflessness that you like have innate in you. So sometimes you are selfish, like you don't put yourself first, is what I'm saying. So it's good to know that. Don't feel guilty if you do have some self-care to help you keep going, to help you be better mom, better wife,
And it goes back to, that's, I bump into that so much, of the whole part of like, oh, I'm giving. And, again, I'm mom. And along the way, you lose your identity. And that frustrates me, because at the end of the day, like, you cannot, like, this sounds cliche, but you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't. And again, it's not about like, oh, I'm going to go on an extravagant trip with my girlfriends. Think small. Asking to, excuse yourself to do a workout in, let's say, your room, which is what I tell my girls to do for an hour. I'm like, your kids are watching you. You're an example, not just for being mom and being a Karen, which I get called all the time, but it's not even about that only. It's about them watching you, be this persona. And I think that's my biggest thing. Sometimes I don't get it from my kids, but I want them to see me as like, my mom is like the bomb. Like, she is just like incredible. Like, she does all these things. And, sometimes I don't see it, which is fine, because we don't need validation. But my intention rather than expectation is to be all that I can be, and that I can prevail from anything. So that's where your teaching needs to be, I think, my opinion.
That's what's going to make them feel fearless when they go and chase their dreams. My mom can do all of that. She reinvented herself at whatever age, or she shifted, or she overcame whatever. I can do whatever. There's no limit. There's no
100%. And we instill that. It's funny because we instill that in our kids. Don't we tell them like, oh, you want to be an astronaut? Yes. Oh, you want to be this? Yes. But then when you fast forward to us, you're like, I can't do that. I don't have time. I don't have money. Like, same rules apply. Like, we're in control, Yeah.
Well, before we leave, I kind of want to find out what has been like your biggest boss moment, like that you're so proud of. We have to celebrate also our wins, and that's what the podcast is about too, that the women that come on the podcast, we want to make sure that you guys are honored and given your flowers, because you're doing such amazing work for the community and for people and to change women's lives. So that is commendable. So where do you think something that just like you did, what you were like, damn, I'm so proud of myself?
Oh my goodness.
I know. I threw a wrench at you.
No, and I'm that girl that celebrates like the tiniest things. Like, I find the sky beautiful every day. So I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna say? I lost my safety net, and I don't like to project tragedy. That's not my speech. I actually, that's not my direction, but I lost my job, my corporate safety net for, you know, a long time. I lost it. And I was super sad, cried for, you know, a while. I was super scared. Scared. But you know what? Like I woke up one morning and I'm like, I'm putting my big girl panties on, and Chasinbalance is gonna sustain me. Like I'm gonna go get it. And it has. Like, it's been a year and a half of just Chasinbalance, like no corporate anything. Like I'm no longer corporate Illiett. I am like entrepreneur, and I'm like incredibly grateful for like doing it and believing it. Like, you know, my husband's friends laugh at me all the time. They're like, Illiett, you can't do vision boards in May. I'm like, oh, hell yes, I can. People can have dreams all year long. And
Which
it is
good to
100%
know.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't only have to save it for the top of the year. You can do it anytime.
Oh, anytime. And it's proven. Like, I'm busy every month. So like, you should have dreams every month. Like, are you kidding me? Like, let's. So yeah, that's my biggest no.
I think this has been great. I think we should kick off the year with this one, Alex. I claim it.
Done. It's done.
Yay!
I just think that this is the reason why me and Alex keep doing the podcast. We're going into year 4. Anybody listening or watching us, that's Alex. I'm Gabby. We're Girls Gone Boss. And the reason why we started this podcast was to help women dream big. And
Yes.
If we have to continuously revisit our dreams and put them down or write them down or journal, let's do that. We share the tools. If anybody wants to connect with Illiett, you already know where to find her. We're going to tag and put all of her information in the, you know, bios and everything. So thank you so much for your time. This was really pleasant. I enjoyed it.
And I can't wait to have you on again, because we're going to talk about manifestation for sure, and vision boarding.
Ladies, thank you so much. I'm grateful for what you're doing and for being such a resource for women. And thank you for having me and kicking off the year. I have a lot of gratitude in my heart. So thank you.
Thank you. And enjoy your time with your husband. Girl.
Yes. Happy anniversary.
Go chase
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening. Till next time.
Till next time.
Bye.
You're listening to Girls Gone Boss.
Hosted by Alex and Gabby. I love you guys.
Oh yeah.